What you're about to hear is part of the Podgods Network. If you have a problem with anything you hear, please write it in an email and go fuck yourself. Enjoy the show.
You are now entering the world of Musings of a Geek podcast network. Stay geeky, my friends.
Roy, podcasting since 2013, you're listening to Green Up Gaming with your hosts Ryan the Coquito, Roy the Snake Dog, Jeremy the Twist, Philip the Mofo, and Tech Time Teddy the Cody.
Yeah, and everyone, welcome to Green Up Gaming, greenuppodcast.com. Good call out, kid. Way to get it in there. Episode number 58. The boys are back. We're all here except for Jeremy, but we understand that. He's serving the country, defending our freedoms in Japan, so I forget what time it is there now, but everyone else is here.
All the pictures I seen of Jeremy, he was eating some kind of Japanese food. He ain't serving no country, defending our freedom.
Oh, he's defending it. Don't you dare talk down to our Navy.
No.
One plate at a time.
My man, Jeremy, he's the man.
Yes, so as you can tell, you have Ryan here. I am joined with everyone else. The two Alabama brothers, Roy and Philip, is back. Thank goodness we have missed you. And we have Tech Time Teddy and the Hutchie.
What up? Damn straight. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Oh, motherfucking Tide.
Teddy's not even from Alabama, and he's like Roll Tide.
Oh, you ain't got to be from Alabama. It's a way of life.
It's the way of life.
It is
just
a
how
way
you
of life.
live.
Yeah,
I got to say, I've been listening to the podcast in my absence every week, you know. And you guys doing fine without me. I don't think you've been missing me too much.
No, we miss you. We do. You know we
Terribly
do. Don't say
amount.
shit like that. Don't break my heart, Philip.
I'm not trying to break your heart.
Don't break my heart.
I'm just, I'm just keeping it real. You know how them,
Keep it
how
real,
them folks
son.
say keep it real? I'm just keeping it real. Y'all doing a good job.
All right, thanks, buddy. We have missed you, though.
It's all my hard work, dedication to keep the show afloat.
The only improvement that I could see is that you let Roy talk less. And I think it'll all be perfect.
No. Nope.
All right.
All right, so real quick, in case you're wondering how to find us, our website is greenuppodcast.com. You can find us on Twitter at greenuppodcast, which I did a little tweet a little while ago if anyone wanted to give us some feedback or any questions, and literally nobody responded. So clearly,
They don't like it.
all our friends on Twitter do not give a shit about us. They don't want to have any input or anything. So, fuck
All right,
us.
we're keeping note, bitches.
Yeah, see, I'm scrolling through my notifications because if you remember, last week we gave our listeners an assignment.
Task. Assignment. Homework.
Yes. Haha, I found it. Here it is. And Musings of a Sheep, our good friend, she is awesome. Love her podcast. If you get a chance, please go check it out. She talks about Dogecoin, which I totally just said that wrong, but I'm moving on. She is a good friend of the show. I really appreciate all her support and everything. She's absolutely awesome. Anyways, hashtag Hutchie new name. Sweet hair. Unicorns are fun. Robots will get you. Just gaming. Netflix, here I come.
That's the one right there.
Is it spelled C-U-M though?
Oh no.
Bananas. This one is my favorite one. Ryan's Minion number 3. And her last one was always a sec. So, thank you for that. We definitely appreciate it. Since I'm in this part of the week, I'll scroll down and see if I saw any more. But did any of those grab you guys?
I like the Netflix Here I Come.
I like the unicorn one.
I do not like the unicorn one.
I thought it was awesome.
You don't have to like it, Hutchie. You have no choice in this.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't. Brian Hughes, our good friend, longtime listener, he says gummy emo rules. That's when he shouted out. So anyways,
Gummy emo.
how was everyone's week? Oh, real quick, graphic novice, just throwing this out there to you, Hutchie. 5-pin bowling is for grandmas.
Oh.
It's not even 5-pin bowling, so he got it wrong.
It's candlepin bowling.
It's called candlepin bowling, and it's harder than 10-pin bowling.
Yeah, so take that, graphic
Wait now,
novice.
how many pins are actually in there?
10?
Bingo.
So how is it not 10-pin bowling?
It's because it's
The pins
The
themselves
pins are
are a lot
smaller.
thinner, and
Thinner.
the ball that you throw is like the size of a softball.
So it's
Yeah,
like one of those little retard bowling sets you can buy at Walmart.
Yeah, but it's professional.
And it's harder than bowling.
and it's harder.
How is it hard?
Just
Try and knock some bowling pins down with a softball, then you'll understand.
Yeah, the ball is only 2.5 between 2.5 to 2.7 pounds.
Depending on whether or not the Patriots are using it.
Do you ever just get pissed and just chuck that son of a bitch down there and just bust a hole in the wall?
I throw a fastball, and when you throw a fastball like I do, it's tend to be less accurate.
So can you do knuckleballs and curveballs and sliders? And
You're not supposed to do all that stuff on this.
I was.
But you roll the ball, right? You roll it like you do a bowling ball. You don't like
Yes,
throw it
you
at
roll
the-
it down, and you try to hit the head
Pins?
pin on either the left or the right side to knock the pins all the way down. But sometimes it.
So it's basically 10-pin bowling with smaller pins and smaller balls.
Yeah, which it makes it harder. In candlepin history, there's never been a perfect 300, unlike
There's only
10.
50 fucking people in the world that have ever done it.
No, it's because of the size of the ball. You guys have the ball diameter of a 10-pin ball is huge.
I do have big balls.
Yeah,
No.
especially old lefty.
You've got like one big ball and then one like 10-pin bowling ball. If I was you, I just take that damn ball and I just throw it overhand. I just chunk that son of a bitch. I try to kill something with it. Oh, or you could do it underhand like a fast pitch softball. Now that would be freaking awesome.
Or you could do like Fred Flintstone and slam it down and split the ball in two. Watch those two halves roll down and hit the pin.
I never liked when that happened. I liked it when he would bowl the ball, and then right before it got to the pins, it would break into 10 pieces, and each piece would hit one pin. Now that took skill.
So, Roy, you quickly made me remember a story that I tried to make sure I remembered to tell today. So, I've told this story before on the podcast, but it's been a long time ago. One of the customers that comes into my store, she owned a coffee shop. And she had two sons, and the oldest son was probably, I'm going to say 12 or 13, but he was autistic. And I was always, mindful and polite and everything. I never said anything or, I was nice. And as you get to know your customers a little bit better, sometimes the guards that you have put up suddenly start to slip away. And she was complaining because we had ran out of something. It was because the assistant manager forgot to order it and whatever. And I was just like, well, sometimes we just have the retards at work here that, don't know any better. And I turned around, walked away, and I took 2 steps, and I realized I did not just say that in front of her. And I realized I did. Her son was standing there, and I was so embarrassed, and I just had to get out of the situation.
Oh, my God.
So, I don't know.
Did he look at you and go,
No, I'm getting there. So afterwards, I was like, okay, I can't let this go because this is really bad. So when she checked out, she usually always wanted to carry out, so I offered to do the carry out, and I went out there and I got finished, and I was like, look, I really have to apologize. I did not mean to offend you. I didn't mean it in any disrespectful way. It's just a word to me. I didn't, I wasn't thinking about it when I said it. And she's like, what are you talking about?
oh, so now you double-stepped and shit.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I had to explain it again. She's like, Ryan, I know you don't mean anything by it. It's fine. He's autistic. We know he's autistic. It doesn't bother us. I was like, okay, I am really sorry and all that.
Been like, well, tell Corky I'm sorry anyway.
So that was pretty much it. And then that had to have been, that was before Jillian. So, Jesus, that was at least 6 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. And she doesn't shop anymore. I don't know what's going on with her. I don't really care. But her son comes in with his dad now, and he's been coming in a lot more. And this kid has grown quite a bit since, last time I saw him. And I'm just always in a bad mood at work anymore. And so a lot of times what little patience I have are gone. And this week was a horrible week. I had the early shift, so I worked 4 to 12:30. The freezer kicked my ass. I was just physically drained. I was just tired. I had so much shit to worry about. And I finally get a chance to finally cut an apartment, get some stuff taken care of. And he had been talking to one of the assistant managers, and, you know, they were standing there, and they were 20, maybe 30 yards away from me. So they weren't in my bubble. Everything was fine. I didn't care. And then all of a sudden, he just starts running up to me and just starts laughing. The only thing that went through my mind was I'm going to punch this fucking retard in the face.
Get away, retard.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's awesome.
So I'm standing there, and I am mad because this kid's in my bubble. He's laughing for no reason. And I look at Gary, the assistant manager, and he just starts laughing at me. And I'm like, I can't do anything. Anything I do is going to be me. And I was like, hey, how's it going? He's like, it's good. Hey, I'm going to go camping soon. I don't care. And then he stood there for the next 10 minutes and watched me cut the tops of the boxes off and put the items in the window. And he wouldn't leave me alone. And then just every once in a while, he would just be standing there. I wasn't saying anything to him, and he'd just go, like, what the fuck?
That's awesome, man.
I wish I could be that happy.
Oh,
I had a similar this past week. As a matter of fact, I had a similar episode. My wife and I were at the local Kmart doing some shopping, and one of the kids that I used to teach, and I don't know what his situation is, but I know that every day he had a tennis ball, and he would want you to throw the tennis ball with him during lunch. So I was the lunchroom Nazi, and I'd have to make him eat his lunch, and then he could come up front, and I'd throw the tennis ball to him, which was awesome, because before you threw the tennis ball, you had to make this noise. With your mouth. So it's me and him making fart noises and throwing the tennis ball. And I realized this guy, it didn't matter where I threw that tennis ball, he was going to catch it. And like, if I threw it under a table full of girls, he's diving down between them and fighting to get the ball. So my wife and I are shopping in Kmart, and he walks, he's coming down the aisle, and I just stopped and held my hands out. He held his hands out, and we were like, two friends that hadn't seen each other forever. We hugged, and his mom, was talking to my wife. He pulls out his tennis ball. Oh, and he goes, and his mom's like, oh, no, not in the store. And I was like, yes, throw that dang ball. So I'm just chunking this ball, and he is tearing up, the stuff in the aisles and stuff, and he's diving into it, and the mother is so mad at me. And I was having the best time. And I just told her and my wife, I said, y'all go do your shopping. We're going to play ball. And we tore that store to pieces, but, man, it was fun. We had a ball.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
It was so much fun. I don't think Kmart much appreciated us, because everybody that walked by was wondering if we were really farting. And then, just out of nowhere, the shoppers are, they're in the deodorant aisle, and this big husky black guy just comes crashing in amongst them, making fart noises, trying to catch the ball as it rolls between their legs. It was so much fun.
Oh, that's a good story. Thanks, Philip.
It was awesome.
So as we get back on track here, a huge week for Green Up again. Thank you to all our listeners for all the favorites and retweets and all the new followers we've gotten on Twitter. I actually got a second today, and I thanked everyone. Kind of opened up to communicating with them, find out how they found out about the podcast, and hopefully we build some relationships from that. And so looking forward to it. Big thanks to all you guys who took the time to download it, and everyone that took the time to actually recommend us to a friend. That's the important thing, and that's how we're going to grow. So thank you. What's coming up for Green Up? We kind of alluded to it last week, and due to this week being so soft and I didn't start show notes until yesterday, and I struggled with video game news. Even the discussion part is kind of weak, so you'll see we're kind of teasing with some tech news. So, like we said last week, we have each week we're going to have certain segments. The first week of every month is going to be a comic review with myself, and right now it's with Nickel from Graphic Novice. We're going to be reading Why the Last Man, and I already started the first trade, and it's pretty damn good so far. And then I believe the second week is Tech Time Teddy's, and since this is the second Sunday, I just thought, we'll tease a little bit of tech news. And then I believe the third Sunday of every month is Roy's What's on Netflix, motherfucker. Is that right, Roy?
It's on Netflix, motherfucker.
Perfect. And then the fourth Sunday is for Philip. His stories. So we're still working on Hutchie. Hutchie, I actually had an idea because I also have Green Up's podcasting spotlight that will be added throughout the month. I'm not sure which week we're going to do it, but for you, I was thinking about possibly some kind of a game. Like if you came up with, I don't know, a few questions, or if you divided us up in teams or something, then you could come up with the questions and ask us. It was the only thing that popped in my head, so you can think
like a trivia game.
Is play somebody in Trivia Crack and have us answer all this question.
I love that game. I wish I could get it on my phone.
That game is awesome, Phil.
It's freaking awesome.
The game sucks.
It's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with you, Philip.
It makes me a bad teacher because I just hurry through the class so that I can get to the end and say, okay, y'all can play Trivia Crack. It's just because I want to answer all the questions.
All right. Well, Hutch, you think on that, and we will, this week we'll talk about it and figure it out.
All right.
And also, if you get a chance, we would love to hear from you. 424-COACH-35. Give our voicemail a call. Let us know what you think of the episode. When we get to the discussion part, or even talk about tech news or whatever, or even the TV stuff that we're going to talk about here next. If you have any thoughts, or you have anything you want to talk about, you don't want to do it in 140 characters on Twitter, just call the voicemail. Let us know what you think. An archaeologist left us a voicemail, and I finally have all my gear for our new setup. But unfortunately, like I said earlier, with this week being as stressful and just drained, I haven't had a chance to actually hook it all up. So in the future, hopefully at this point, I could hit play on my phone and it would play the voicemail for everyone. So in the future. So thanks for that call. We definitely appreciate it. And please give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Get your thoughts on it. So TV shows. Now, before we start rambling on all the shows we were watching about, Ricky, our good friend from Australia, he brought up, I'm trying to find it here on my Twitter feed here, he said, and I quote, "I am pretty much done with #The Walking Dead. After the previous episode, the show is just too bleak." And he tweeted that to me, Roy, and Philip. So, as you guys all know, I'm pretty far behind. So, spoiler alerts.
Fucking really disappointed.
If you haven't watched the new episode, we're going to talk about it. These guys know they can talk about whatever you want, so they're going to spoil the episode, and I'm fine with that. So if you're not, I would fast forward another, let's say 4 minutes, then we should be through with it. But Philip and Rory, Hutchie, Teddy, I don't know if you watch it. Have at it, buddy.
Well, I had said that I was upset that they made Tyrese into a bitch on this.
Yeah. I was ticked that they turned him into a pussy because he's not a pussy in the comic book,
And then Theodore had mentioned something, I don't remember what he said.
Something about emotions or some girly stuff.
No, I was saying, because he was virtually invincible. I mean, we've seen him in other situations where they've left him behind because they thought he was going to die, surrounded by, hordes of zombies. And then he comes out of it unscathed. And how he dies now is basically because he got emotional over a little picture.
I would think after being in a situation like a zombie apocalypse for, what are we saying here, 3-4 years now, you have to learn that you got to always be on point. You can't be emotional because this is what happens. You can ask all of my children because, instantly when it happened, I said, see, that's why you don't let your guard down in a zombie apocalypse. And they all went, yes, sir. See, train them up right. You got to teach them.
Well, I think it's because he basically cracked, though,
Yeah, I think he was off his nut there for a good while. After Carol burned his girlfriend, I think that really sent him over the edge.
Yeah, and then the kids.
Yeah, the crazy
whole
girl looking at the flowers, I think that messed him up. But still, you've survived that long. You've seen just gruesomely horrible stuff. You got to keep going. You don't quit. You don't give up. You got to keep going.
Well, then there's the guy that he said he killed, but he didn't kill.
Yeah. Or he didn't finish the job.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's almost like a reverse snap of what Rick went through. Rick went to crazy protection mode, and of course, he still has people to protect, where Tyrese didn't really at this point.
Yeah, because if Carl keeps eating all that pudding, he's going to get diabetes.
That was some nasty pudding, too. It'd been sitting in that can in the heat. Yeah, oh, man, I bet that was some nasty stuff. But, if you hadn't had pudding for, 2 or 3 years, you might as well go for it. What's a couple of days of diarrhea? I really feel like the show, even though I love it so much, I think it's taken that turn where it's becoming more of an emotional ride. It's becoming more of an exploration of emotions, and I don't think that that's what I want to watch. I want to see, balls to the wall. I got to be a badass to survive. I don't want to see emotion. I don't want to see all that stuff. I know it's there and I know it exists, but come on, man, it's freaking zombies. You can't be emotional.
And I was really happy about the prison, of how it was set up. They got some sustainable food.
That was freaking awesome.
They haven't even tried to recreate a safe situation like that.
I know.
I think What's-Her-Face was trying to get him to do that in that
Michonne.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think Michonne realizes that the group is better when it's like that, when they have a base and they have a place to rely on, and everybody has a job. I think she realizes the dynamics of the group are being damaged because they don't have what they need to have.
Well, I'm just fishing up where they left the jail and they found the city, right? Where the governor was.
Right.
So I forget after that. Does the governor attacks the jail, right?
Yeah.
That bastard.
Yeah. With a tank.
He didn't just attack it. He made it where nobody could be there. And I just don't see the point. If you want the jail, you don't make it where you can't be in it. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So, where do you guys expect the season to go, though?
I don't know, man. After this start of this second half, it could go anywhere.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It really is, because I know where I want it to go. I don't even mind that they're going to Washington. I can deal with that. They've got a purpose. They've got a goal. Let's go with it. Let's make it happen. But let's don't forget that we're in the middle of a horrible situation, and we got to keep our guard up. And you got to soldier on. You got to keep doing what you have to do.
Well, I was listening to another podcast and someone brought it up that now they're reading the trades, so I don't know where they're at as compared to the TV show. But they made the comment that when they can sit there and form a group and fight these hordes as they come on, that they're they have a better chance of survival as opposed to roaming around just doing, just getting by. So
right.
Is that kind of a similar thing that you're talking about with the show, or?
I agree completely. Yeah. They realized early on, even back when they were at Herschel's house, they realized that as a group there is strength, and as a group stuff gets done in a positive way. And now they've splintered, and you've got different groups going off in different directions with different objectives. and there is no home base, and it's like they're all losing their identity because what they know to keep them grounded is not there, and it's very, very frustrating.
I gotta say though, Washington D.C. would be probably the first place I went.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I know, it's another city. That's the only thing.
You want to know why?
Even from where you're at?
Because there ain't going to be any zombies there. There's no brains to sustain them.
And then you got the White House, though, that has all those bunkers and stuff like that. The underground bunkers. And then the same thing with Pentagon. It'd be a safe spot to go.
Unless they're dead inside there.
Yeah, eventually the underground bunker's no good because you're just going to run out of supplies,
Yeah. But
and there could be people there that, they don't want any more supplies. Their supply is stolen.
Yeah.
People could have turned bad.
Well, people have already turned bad on the show. I think that's the point. They're going to have to stay within their own group and treat every outsider as, a suspect.
Exactly.
That's what they're pretty much at now. I think they already do that, though.
I just
you have to
need a place like the prison to get into that can be that they can keep the zombies out of and be able to defend against outsiders. I think is what they need.
Well,
that's what I want them to get back to.
Well, and I think we've discussed this before, but at some point you have to question: are these zombies going to start finally decomposing into nothing, or is this just going on forever?
I think as long as people die, there will be zombies. And, so you're not going to run out of zombies because, people hold out. They have better supply stores. And when those supplies run out,
Well, right, but what about weather? I mean, is the cold weather going to affect them more? Is the hot weather going to affect them more? I mean, are they going to decompose quicker? And I understand that as people die, like, the virus is in them, and as soon as they die, they switch over. I get that, but I don't know. Just a thought I was throwing out there.
I think it's valid. I think weather and all of that affects them, but as long as they can find something to eat, they can sustain something. I think that's the reason they're moving slower and they're less. If you go back and watch the first season, you got zombies that are, trying to open doors, turning doorknobs and all this kind of stuff. And now they just seem to be not only decaying to the point that they can physically not move on as well, but also decaying mentally where that they just they're not that intelligent anymore. So I don't know.
All right. There you go, Ricky. I just tweeted you too that it should be about 20 minutes into the episode. There it's there. Are you guys watching anything else good? Teddy, I know you said you watched a bunch.
Watched some Blacklist myself.
Oh, really? Is that all, is that season done with?
No.
It was a new episode.
Third episode.
Let's see, what did I watch? I just started watching The Killing, which is on its fourth season.
Yeah. Are you going back to the first season?
Yeah, I started at the beginning.
Yeah,
I haven't watched anything yet.
Were really good, but after that, I couldn't watch it anymore. I just finished watching Breaking Bad. Finally finished that whole series, and it was freaking awesome.
I'm getting into that, actually.
It's actually really good.
I actually finished all of season 1, and I'm on episode 2 or 3 on season 2.
I was really pleased with Breaking Bad. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to watch now, what my next show is. I about decided it's going to be Peaky Blinders.
Yep.
Yeah,
everybody on here has been talking about how good it is, so I'll probably jump on that,
So, Philip,
Tuesday night.
Are you going to get into Better Call Saul?
I'm already into it,
Oh, okay.
100%. I've watched both episodes probably 3 or 4 times each. I really like it. I needed the backstory. I needed the connection. I think it's really cool how they're putting the whole puzzle together, for you. And I've been in it. I like it.
Should I watch all of Breaking Bad before I watch that?
Actually, Better Call Saul is like the prequel.
I think Better Call Saul sets Breaking Bad up better.
Well, what I've heard is that there's a lot of throwbacks in Better Call Saul that makes it better if you've already watched Breaking Bad.
Right.
you
But
haven't seen
you
Breaking Bad-
recognize the character.
Yeah. You see where everything's coming.
Tuco was in there and Mike was in there.
Well, yeah, but even like, I don't know the characters because I've never seen it. Just from what I heard from ADO Radio when Chris was talking about it, one of the guys' house in Better Call Saul, where his lawyer office is, there's a throwback there that in Breaking Bad when he tries to get them to rent that building is because he had already been there. So I mean stuff like that may make it more enjoyable, but I don't know. I guess that's a personal thing, Hutch, if you'd rather wait or not.
Because I'm recording Better Call Saul on my DVR box. I just haven't watched it yet.
I think after you get through like the first 3 seasons of Breaking Bad, pretty much everything that I've seen so far on Better Call Saul, with the exception of the what is it, the place, the nail salon place that he kept trying to get Walton Schuyler to buy, that reference there. Other than that, everything else, was early on in in Breaking Bad.
You guys brought up the Blacklist. How do you think that Keen's going to get out of this now with...
Oh, I haven't even seen this. I haven't watched this, season 2 yet. I'm waiting for it to all come out, and then I was going to watch it.
That's me too.
Damn. Roy, how do you think Keen's going to be able to get out of this mess without going into too much of it? So,
I don't know, man. They want him dead. How do you get away from it? What?
Teddy, I know. Did you get all caught up on 12 Monkeys?
No, not even. I just started that one too.
The latest one kind of takes an odd twist at the end of the episode that kind of gets you scratching your head, but it's been pretty good. I'm all caught up on Helix as well, but I like the time change with Helix. They have a present day and then 30 years from now. I just don't know how they're going to tie it all together. It's a different feel for the show because the first season they're hunkered down in this base, and this virus is getting around. Now they're hunkered up in this cult island, but I don't know. It's pretty good though. Anything else?
Have you been watching Backstrom? That's a good show. I'm one behind on that one. I haven't seen the latest episode, but
yeah, same here.
I really heard there's. Oh, go ahead.
Well, let's just say it's been pretty good. Just his unique way of solving a crime.
Oh yeah.
I don't, because he's the.
It's not conventional by any means.
Yeah, but I mean, he's taking evidence without having probable cause or even search warrants.
Oh, yeah.
Which,
That's the way it should be. Fuck it.
Yeah.
They ended up, they make it work every time, some way, shape, or form, which I don't. I'd like to see it bite him in the ass, though. But, I mean, it's alright. What do you think, Hutch?
I think it's a good show. I like how he doesn't obey the law all the time to get the job done. He just wants to solve the cases and put the bad guys away and stuff. I like it. It's not your typical crime show. It's got a twist to it.
I finally got the last episode of Marco Polo watched, and I thought they ended it pretty well.
Yeah, I gotta watch
Definitely.
that too.
So Philip, after you watch Peaky Blinders, I think that's the next one you gotta watch.
Yeah, I was Marco Polo, 12 Monkeys, those were kind of on my list too, but I think I'm going to go Peaky Blinders first.
I don't think he'll be just.
No, that was one of my favorite shows I've seen so far this year.
I started one on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it, but just take me a sec to get there. I think we talked about it last time. Are any of you guys excited about Daredevil?
I am. I didn't know that it was coming out until you guys said something.
No, I'm out on that.
Ben Affleck just ruined it for me. Like he's going to ruin the new Batman.
He ruins everything. I will say this. I got tricked into watching that movie about where his wife is
Gone Girl?
Yeah. What a crappy movie.
You didn't like it? I just heard it was pretty good.
Freaking movie. So bad.
So
I mean, I could have solved that problem for him a long time ago. Number one, don't put Ben Affleck in your movie. Number two, just shoot that bitch in the face. Because she needed it. I mean,
that's
I apologize to all the the lovelies out there, but golly, man, that chick was out there.
The Netflix original I just started, season 1. It's only 4 episodes, but Southcliffe. The first episode, I was a little. That's one of the ones I need to really sit down and watch. Since it is only 4 episodes, there's going to be tons of stuff thrown into it, but. It's a 4-part miniseries exploring the origins and aftermath of a small-town massacre that leaves 15 people dead and countless lives affected. Just real quick, the first episode has some guys coming back from Iraq. The younger guy's in this pub, and this guy that I believe they call the commander is sitting there, buys him a drink, and asks him if he's still up for doing some training. So he does some training with them, and he points out that there's a SAS camp just down the bank or something. And the younger guy asks if he wants to go do it, and he pretty much says no. It wouldn't be any good for you. Well, evidently the younger guy, his uncle was in the SAS, so he contacts his uncle to find out if this guy was actually in the SAS. It comes out that he wasn't. He applied but got denied. Didn't pass the physical or something, and they pretty much call him out on it, and then chase him down with their Jeep and make him run around, and then the old uncle jumps out and takes a leak on him, so he loses it, goes home and gets his gun and just goes on a shootout.
Hey.
Again, it's only 4 episodes, so if you got 4 hours to kill in a weekend, it's pretty good.
No, my weekends are pretty full.
Right in there between sleep all day and bored out of your mind.
Oh, and
I don't sleep all day.
All right, moving on. Video games. What's everyone playing?
Played a little Minecraft, a little NHL 15, a little zombies, Call of Duty zombies. About it.
Myself, I got hooked on the zombies with the Call of Duty zombies with Roy here and Hutchie. So I picked up Dying Light.
Yeah.
Been playing
Zombie Overload
this weekend. Yeah. It's good. It's really good. It reminds me a lot of Dead Island and Resident Evil 5 combined.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Shout out to our friend Clint from Geek Dig Podcast. I know he's been playing that game quite a bit too.
Yeah, he played zombies, Call of Duty zombies.
Yep.
Earlier in the week. And also watched Breaking Bad with me and Hutchie.
Yep.
For me, it's just been FIFA 15, IDRB, and I plugged in some Madden, and that did not last very long.
I was gonna say you played some Madden yesterday.
Yeah.
I downloaded iDarb as well. Played that once.
Just once?
I have it. I have.
No, I just haven't played it with anyone yet.
Oh, okay.
Don't get excited about playing all of them.
Yeah. Clint did say that the research he did, he found that the developers are going to be making a patch so you can do 4v4 via live. Right now, if you just want to, like, if you want to play right now, Ketty, you just have to play one of us. You can't play us all. So you could play Roy, and then I could play Hutchie, and then we could.
I gotta say, I want my money back.
We could do a round robin tournament.
Yeah. That's what we could do. It was free, Roy, so.
I know, but I want my Xbox Live Gold money back.
He wants the
and the money I wasted on this fucking system.
The minutes of his life he'll never get back.
Yeah, pain and suffering.
Alrighty. Go ahead, Edge.
I've been playing Call of Duty, and that's about it. And somewhat NHL. I play that, but mainly just Call of Duty.
What about on your phone, Hutch? What have you been playing?
Oh, yeah. I've been playing SimCity every day. SimCity Build It. It's a free game on the Play Store or Apple.
We should fire up
Every
our 360s
day.
and play some Civ Rep again.
You know, we were talking about that too.
I have that. I have my 360 hooked up. I just have to turn it on.
Yeah.
You guys can gang up on me again. That'll be a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, that would be actually, and you'll still find a way to win.
Not necessarily.
Video game news is really bleak. I searched probably half a dozen websites and nothing really even sounded or was really that interesting. Only thing I have is in the live the other day, we were talking about Battlefield Hardline. Teddy's excited for it, so Hutchie's getting it. So,
Fuck that shit.
yeah, we know you're not getting
That's right.
it. You're not getting it.
Fuck that nasty EA shit.
He won't get it until after everyone else gets
Oh, I'm
it.
fucking, man. Fuck.
I completely
It's
missed
alright.
the beta, so
Yeah, you did.
It was reheated shit. That's all it was. Old shit that was sitting over there dried out, and they sprinkled water on it and reheated it.
It
So
was
you got
probably
fresh old shit.
it was probably a Battlefield game that they canceled because it didn't work out so good. But they
Changed
figured
the outfits.
it's got a new system now, so you might as well throw one on the Xbox One.
well, that's not selling it for me, Teddy. So be careful there, buddy.
No, but it looks like there's going to be a lot more new game modes, and one game mode really reminded me of a cross between Battlefield and Grand Theft Auto. It was kind of fun.
The Order coming out for PS4 there, Hutchie.
Yes, it is. I'll be picking it up.
I do wish I had a PS4 for that game. It looks amazing.
I'm not going to get it when it releases, but I will be getting it.
Speaking of PS4, did you know that PS4 is now the #1 selling console
Again,
as of last January?
they were like outselling Xbox like crazy, and then somehow Microsoft took that back over for a month, and everybody realized how shitty the Xbox was.
I disagree with that. I think the PlayStation 4 may just be more popular. I don't think it's necessarily better.
Oh, it is.
No, it's definitely better.
It definitely is better.
I don't have one, but I just know it's got to be better than the Xbox One.
I don't know.
Xbox-
You know, every Sunday you get on and can't see your friends. That's the selling point. You like
Yeah,
playing,
especially-
you like being a loner, not having any friends. The
You gotta
Xbox is
admit.
for you.
And the party chat's been screwing up a lot lately too. Like you get into party chats, and then certain people go white, and then they can't talk, and then you have to reset your Xbox, reset your modem every other day because of the stupid system.
You gotta admit though, Sundays are nice when you can't hear your friends talk when Jammer joins the
You
party.
know what they say? When you go white, your credit gets right.
All right.
That's just dumb.
Missed that one.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you later.
Alrighty. Discussion. I brought this up during Gotham Knights last week, and no one seemed to care. Brian Williams gets suspended for 6 months with no pay for lying about his helicopter story.
Well, that's not the first time he's lied about something either. There were other situations that have been recited since this came out.
I saw something where he said that he was Darth Vader's son.
What?
Maybe that was just a meme. I'm not sure.
So, my question for you guys is this: Why do we put so much into what we hear on the news?
Because Fox is fair and balanced.
Yeah, I keep on reading that on one of my buddies' Facebook status. Every time he says something about Fox, in parentheses, it's always says, and mind you, they're fair and balanced. Guess I'm going to have to stop watching Fox News.
Yeah. Change the way you think.
Well, in so much with social media now, so many people take what they see on Twitter or on Facebook or what have you is actual news.
Which is stupid.
Yeah. And then things aren't getting, you got to sit there and wait for everything to finally get verified and for the real news to come out. But these people like, Brian Williams is, the networks send him to some place to report on the news. But at the end of the day, I know he's just telling us what they want us to hear.
What the network wants us to hear. That's what he's telling us.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian Williams has figured out the same exact thing that the commander-in-chief has figured out. That people don't want to... Here's my classic example. When I come home from being at my place of work where I've been all week, I haven't seen my family for an entire week, and I come home, all I want to do is sit with my family and just enjoy time with my family. I don't want to have to do work. I don't want to have to go outside and pick up all the tree limbs that have fallen out of the trees and clean up the yard. And, I don't want to fix shit around the house. I just want to chill with the family. And I think that's what the situation is. When people come home in the evening, they're freaking tired. And they don't want to have to think, and they don't want to have to develop their own opinions, and they don't want to have to know what's going on around them. They just want to be told. And I think Brian Williams figured out just the same way most of the politicians figured out. Just tell them. Just tell them what you want them to believe, and they'll believe it because they're either too tired or too lazy to want to find out for themselves. And, it's frustrating for me, in my capacity as a teacher, to have to try and teach kids not just the stupid old history that Coach Willie has to teach. It's to teach them that the more important thing is not just that you learn history, but that you learn how to think for yourself and you learn how to be responsible and make good decisions. And it's very frustrating to have to, not just have to fight everything else, but now you got to fight the media and all this other crap because they don't want you to have to think. They want you to just believe the way they want you to believe. That's my opinion. So there it is.
Well, I think that's a great point. I had a conversation with someone that I work with. His fiance is a school teacher. I think she teaches 5th grade or something. Yeah. My friend Jared's very opinionated about certain things, and he, I guess, was giving her a hard time because she's starting to teach on Native Americans and stuff like that. And he's like, well, what are you going to teach them? And she's like, well, I'm going to teach them the curriculum that I'm supposed to. And, of course, he brought it all up. That, are you going to teach them that Columbus was the first one to discover America and all this other stuff? And he was just taking it really, expecting her to rewrite her whole curriculum about how Vikings were able to find America before Columbus did and all this other stuff. And when it comes to Native Americans and the actual history, because I know when I was in school, what I learned wasn't the full story. I mean, it wasn't until after high school when I actually started reading books and actually getting to know the history myself. That there's a whole story that's not told to you when you're in grade school, and it's probably because you're not mature enough to understand the whole concept of the story or the actual history of what happened. But I took the time to learn it on my own, and that's what's frustrating and that's why we don't watch the news, is because it's so depressing and so negative.
Yep.
Thanks, Hutch.
Well, it's going to be depressing, because that's going to be the stuff that affects us the most. There's not going to be a whole lot of do-good stories that are going to really brighten our day that actually make a difference. So, I get that, but the thing about news and different networks reporting on the same story, how it can turn out different ways is, obviously people's political beliefs differ. And, you have very, very different news organizations competing out there, and they're trying to cater to their audience. So they're going to put a spin on stuff, but the integrity behind the newscasters, like what Brian Williams is supposed to have, is is why we hold the news so vital to us. We don't want to hear a bunch of lies. Sure, it might have a spin for a certain political party or whatever, but the facts and the truth are still the truth. And that's why the integrity of newscasters are so vital to their profession.
I agree 100%. But I also think that it goes beyond the newscasters, because if the newscaster works for a media outlet that controls what the newscaster says, then we also have to depend on the integrity of the media outlet. And I don't know that that's altogether integrous. Is that a word?
But that's very true, though.
No, I agree.
You got to think back through history, and what's taught in history is always written by the winner of whatever,
Exactly.
So you get that side of the story. It's like I always said, if I ever snap and have to kill somebody, it's only going to be one story to tell. It's going to be my story. Not that I'm looking forward to that, or maybe I am, but you're basically at the mercy of the victor.
The Dominus _ Victor.
You damn fucking right.
Do you feel that Brian Williams can come back and everyone will be forgiven? Or
well, of course.
They'll do a feel-good fucking cry fest one night. He'll be interviewed by whoever takes his place as the most trusted, and he'll apologize. It won't mean shit, but he'll say the right word.
Okay, well, for me, I look at him as some glorified actor that they put in a chair. He reads a teleprompter, and then he gets to travel the world and go to special locations to interview people. And then when he comes back, given there's only a small handful of people that actually witnessed him do this story or do whatever he did, so he can make it out to be whatever it is. And that's what he's finally getting caught for. But no, I mean, with other than just getting online and reading the news, I mean, you're just going to replace that with someone else. I mean, I don't know what I was trying to say there, but
I mean, think about it. What's been on the news this week?
I don't know.
Well, there was the governor there in Oregon. He was in the news.
What did we do?
Your governor there.
Did he get a prostitute?
I think he stepped down.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Apparently he was tapping his toes through the bathroom stall.
Oh no, really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Another bathroom stall tapper?
No.
Well, for a while, the biggest news in Oregon after the whole legalizing weed, we had that college student that, she went and videotaped herself at the library. What, nothing? No one's going to bite on that one? Whatever.
I mean, think about it, man. Anything in the news is never good. It's just for ratings. So they hype shit up, they build shit up, and have a fucking week-long discussion on something, and then next week it's going to happen again with a new topic. So
yeah,
our news station, our local news station, all they've been talking about is snow for like a month straight now. It's like every day it's like a breaking news, a new snowstorm coming in. We don't care. We live in New England.
We live in New Hampshire. Yeah.
We don't care about the damn snow. Put something else that's actually newsworthy on there. Like, my town had, like, a structure fire not too long ago, and they might have said, like, 5 words about it. And it's like, and they went right back into the weather. We don't care. It's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I can see that, too, with what you're talking about, Hutch, where you're just getting over-bombed by the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah, and it's like, I have them on my cell phone, because it's our local news, so I put it on my phone, and it's like, breaking news, a foot of snow is coming to you right now. Like, I care. Well, it's not much we can do about it.
Breaking news. I farted.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Story at 11.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Philip can vouch to that story.
the other thing about it is they don't even have to lie about
No,
news.
they don't anymore because there's been so much shit reported that nobody knows what to believe. So they can say whatever the fuck they want now.
Well, that, and then they choose to get their, political viewpoints across by, just reporting on what they choose to. And that's how they can shift their focus on whatever
That's a
they
good
want
point.
to now.
Yeah.
Now,
Yep.
it's just like statistics. I mean, you can get a statistic for anything, and sure, it'll still be a fact, but it depends on how you compare those statistics or how you choose to represent them.
Yeah.
And they can
Like,
show for any
6
argument
out of 7 dwarfs aren't happy.
with their dentist.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. I think we all pretty much agree on that one.
I blame it on Ron Burgundy. I mean, if you watch the second Ron Burgundy movie, that explained it all.
It did. I was thinking that the whole time we were talking about that. I was like,
I haven't
wow,
seen the movie yet.
that shit just happened. Oh, you know what time it is? Is there a jingle to be heard?
No, not yet.
Oh, fuck. I was ready for it, bro.
Oh, I told you
You
I
were
don't
more
have all
than
my shit
ready.
set up yet.
He sent me the words to the jingle, bro, and I was like, fucking can't wait.
Hey, don't spoil it.
Yeah, so Neil, hey Neil from Dark Angels and Pretty Feasts, while you're listening to this, the jingle's on you, buddy. How's those jingles coming along? And Nickel from Graphic Novice, how's that show art coming along, buddy? We need your help. You guys have a couple weeks left. So each week we'll just tease a little bit with what our segments are going to be each Sunday. And so, Teddy, I'm not expecting you to do this. I mean, if you want to read it, you can. I mean, I put it all together. It's up to you, buddy.
No, go for it.
All right. So what I did, I just went and found a couple tech news type things, kind of a little teaser for Tech Time with Teddy. So the first thing I have here is Apple Car.
Apple car or
Yes.
Apple cart?
No, Apple Car.
Story at 11.
Do you think it will be possible for us to have a car made by Apple?
Fuck that. I want my flying car.
Yeah, that's
I was
bullshit.
promised that.
We're in the future, and there is no damn flying car.
Yeah.
Thanks,
a fucking car
Obama.
made out of apples. That's bullshit. I want a flying fucking car.
So when I found it on the internet and when I started researching was Tesla, what they've been able to do with their cars. Not the CEO of Apple, but somebody high up there had made the comment about, they have tons of ideas out there. They said it's more likely that there could be Apple in the dashboard of every Ford in 10 years as opposed to a car. But they definitely want to get involved with as much as they can. So I don't know how expensive an Apple car would be. I know there was a couple years ago they were talking about an Apple TV or, an actual flat screen, not just the little box. But I haven't heard anything new about that. But speaking of televisions, and this kind of hit at home for me because I have a Samsung Smart TV, but evidently, depending on the apps that you use on your television, because, they're already all built in, you can start seeing some annoying ads show up very soon. And it's actually already happening in, I believe it's Australia. So Ricky, our Australian newscaster, should we call him? We need to get him a title.
Correspondent.
Yeah, correspondent's a great word.
There we go. We could use some research on that there, Ricky. Evidently, one thing I read, the Plex app on the television, the individual complained that there was Pepsi ads that would show up every 20 minutes at the bottom of the TV. Which, I gotta be honest, dude, if I saw that every 20 minutes, I would lose my shit.
Yeah, I'd be pissed. I don't think it's going to be...
Budweiser commercials are about every 20 minutes.
Yeah, but Budweiser's good.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
I don't think it's
Is
going to
that-
be a huge deal on like premium apps like Netflix or anything because those are like a pay-for service.
Look, Hulu pops up commercial.
Yeah, but they did that from the beginning.
Well, and that's what I brought up too. Do you think it would happen with Netflix or Hulu or anything like that?
I don't think so. Not with Netflix. I mean, at least not anytime in the near future. I think people would get sick of that, and it would be a make or break decision for companies like that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Plex. I mean, who cares? Who gives a fuck? Whatever Plex is.
What is Play?
I remember seeing it. I can't even get my fucking Netflix to work on my television, so on my actual TV it doesn't work. I keep getting a stupid error. I can get Hulu.
I don't use any of the maps. I don't use any of the apps on my TV.
Oh, you know what? I looked into Plex a while ago. Damn it. I wish I remember what it was all about. You can put it on your TV, your telephone, your laptop, your tablet, and then you can share TV shows and stuff. You can share everything on it. Am I supposed to throw a tennis ball?
Yeah.
No, you got to do it twice.
Oh. Okay. So yeah, I don't know about the Plex. I don't use it. I mean, it's there for the Xbox and PlayStation if you guys want to go test it out. I'm sure you don't. All right, moving on. This is the one that really interests me. Using virtual reality for training in sports.
I'm 100% on board. I think it's awesome.
See, now I think so. A long time ago there was a study on just mental preparation for sports, regardless of the physical movement, the practice, and game time. If players mentally prepared, just thought about the moves, thought about the plays, and in a type of meditation format, it was shown to cause great improvement.
I agree.
So I think virtual reality is one step further, even.
Yeah. Well, and what they were saying was, I don't know how many times that it was used, but the quarterback was hooked up to this thing, and they set up the plays so he could watch it. And the two games that they used it, they ended up winning both games. I'm not saying that was a key factor for them to winning it, but as a football coach, the best way that I could really compare it was if you're using Google Maps or Street View from Google Maps as a comparison. If you use Google Maps as drawing up plays on a chalkboard or just watching game film, the Street View would be using virtual reality. So they can sit there and see.
So are you saying like the quarterback can, simulate a snap and read what's happening in front of him, so he could actually make his progressions and read?
Yes. And he can see the defensive line working their specific technique against, if they audible and change the offensive line, slide right or slide left, or, go big on big or whatever. You can make those adjustments and it will show, and they actually see it coming at them.
Do you think that would have more of an impact on a kid coming out of high school going into college, or a kid coming out of college going into the pros?
Wow. I think both levels. There's such a huge step.
Because that would get somebody used to the speed of the game.
Yeah.
If it's happening like I'm envisioning it,
yeah.
I could see, some of these quarterback camps and things like that. And you talking about taking somebody that's not so mentally sharp but has all the other tools and really putting things together for them.
Yeah. No, I definitely I think it would be a huge advantage at any level. I mean, especially at, I'm going to say high school because that's where my coaching limitations is held at, is at the high school level. I mean, at the college level, I know, it's taken so much more seriously at the collegiate level, with the film and everything, but just so watching the film,
I could only really see it from a quarterback perspective, except for maybe like a Mike linebacker.
Linebackers.
I can see the linebackers making their reads off the backs, and
but think about defensive linemen in a read front. I mean, if they sit and they see the front movement and they get to sharpen their read steps and their techniques off of their read step. I think it helps every aspect of the game. And I think it's most beneficial really in college football because the NCAA regulates how much time can be spent practicing every day. But there is no regulation on what that player does once he is on his own. So if your quarterback or your Mike linebacker or your defensive end or your free safety or your running back or your receiver, if they are spending their time after practice before sleep in a virtual situation where they are seeing the movements of the defense that they're going to see or the offense that they're going to see, that's more practice that they can get in. Plus, it doesn't put the physical strain on the body. And, everybody knows that college practice is a lot less physical than high school practice. It's always been that way because you can't get your guys hurt. You can't get them beat down, Yeah. And even more so in professional football, there's very little physical work that goes on. So this is just a way to sharpen the skills of the player without running the risk of that freak ankle injury or that freak knee injury.
Could you see this replacing daily practice time?
I don't think there is a replacement for that.
No.
But I think this is an enhancement of it. I mean, it's just like what we did with Madden 2003. You put your offense out there, your quarterback's playing a game. But what he's really doing is learning how to read a two-man, or he's learning how to read the two high safeties. It's set up to teach what can't be taught a lot of times on the field.
Well,
I think it's awesome.
It's so difficult to get those multiple reps in. Because,
exactly.
And then you're just wasting so many other bodies just standing there that you're burning so much time on just one player. And even watching film's always, I don't know the right, it's not completely overhead, but you know what I mean, how film is. You
normally have a view that's garbage.
Yeah, you don't get this perspective that the quarterback needs. Sure, if the quarterback's sitting up in the stands, he can easily see, oh, okay, they got two safeties up in their press. We're cover two man. Boom, they can see it. But from the field, that rover may not be 12, 15 yards back. He may only be at 8 at 10 and then quickly bail. He can't see it. So I think this is great. I hope that, it actually gets used more.
I'm wondering if that would get, because of the way that the NCAA does limit training for their athletes, I'm wondering if this will get caught up in that, they can use it. I could see the biggest benefit in the off season. You got a quarterback that plays. All right, let's say he's a freshman. He's a true freshman, and he starts for whatever school and plays every game. All right, so by the time the next season rolls around, he's had a complete season under his belt plus practice. But if you put him through this, then he's had a year under his belt in your system, going over different progressions and things like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing, I completely agree with that, and that's one thing I've always preached, with my kids, the backups and everything, to get the mental reps. As they're standing there on the sideline, keep focused on, what your position's doing and get that rep. Yes, Jillian. Sorry. Go ahead, guys.
It's interesting. I'd like to see how that comes out. I could see that taking the edge off of, especially for, true freshman athletes.
Yeah.
And even redshirt freshmen. I could see that making it easier for them to move into game situations because in their mind, at least, they've already seen it. Now, you're still going to have the butterflies and all that shit, but, by the time I'm just thinking if they, don't leave early and they stay a full 4 years or 5 years, however they do it, but you're talking about the amount of coaching you can put into a kid,
Yeah.
It doesn't become just a system. It's just natural,
Oh shit, sorry guys, I didn't realize this started getting too long. So, Philip, my friend.
Yeah?
You got a good
Been
story
too long.
Yeah, it's been way too long. And I will say this, I think our listeners are getting a little too spoiled when you're able to show up every week.
Yeah. I get hate mail. What did I do with my brother? Have I kidnapped him?
Well, I don't ever get any of that, so.
Well, they're not sending you hate mail, dummy.
Why would they send you hate mail?
What
They
has
send
Roy
him
done
love
with you?
mail.
What has Roy done with you? Have you been kidnapped?
They could just send tit pics and I'd be fine, But anyway, I was talking with Roy even yesterday, with the stress of what I went through during the month of January, where it was like 6 and 7 days a week that I was working and couldn't even go see my family, I honestly didn't feel too funny. It was like, how could I do a podcast and try and be funny when I'm pretty, beat down and depressed and tired. And so, all this week, our basketball season ended. We got put out of the playoffs on Tuesday. So Wednesday, as I sat there in my apartment and listened to the clock tick, and I was thinking, what in the hell am I going to do now? Because, for the first time, I don't have practice after school or something that I got to go scout or whatever. And what am I even going to talk about? Because it's been a while since I've been on the podcast, and I've been missing it. I mean, it's been emotional for me that, gosh, I really want to be back there. I want to be talking and cutting up and having fun. But what am I going to talk about? So I get home, and of course, when I get home, I finally get to watch TV because, of course, I don't have TV where I live. So, I'm an old man. I'm the old guy on the podcast, but I'm also old physically. My body's pretty beaten down from sports and stuff. And so, with all the aches and pains and creaks and moans that my body puts me through, I don't really sleep really well. So I get up early every morning, I do love I'm a morning person. I love getting up early, but I have to, I can't lay in bed. So my first morning at home in a while, and I turn on the television and I turn over to like HBO or whatever, and the Dukes of Hazzard is on, which for me is awesome because I love the Dukes of Hazzard. I love the television show, and I love the movie too. I know a lot of people don't, but anything that's got Jessica Simpson in it is good for me. And sure enough, there's Daisy Duke, and she's walking down the street, and she's got on like her tight jeans and her bell-bottom jeans, and she's got the little halter top on, and she's got that feathered hair, and oh my gosh, it immediately reminded me of my youth, of my boyhood.
Did you start rubbing it out on the couch?
I wanted to. But since I was at my home with my wife and children, I didn't.
So he just stuck his hand in his pocket.
I'll tell you this, I banked that, so it's going to happen. But
you put it in the spank bank, huh?
Yeah. So anyway, I was reminded of when I was just a little guy, and I remember I was in the yard, and all of a sudden I looked up, because this was the early 70s, and I looked up, and there was these two just smoking hot, redneck hippie chicks. They had on these tight jeans and these bell bottoms and no shoes and halter tops and the feathered back hair, and they're just gorgeous. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this is freaking awesome. These girls are hot. And I'm maybe 5 at the time. And I remember what's funny about it is that my dad was out in the yard with us, and he was looking at them too, and my mom was getting ticked, And that was the first time I realized there was a hot chick that lived somewhere in my neighborhood, and I began to take notice. Well, a few years later, when Roy was born, of course, everybody knows that's when life was ruined for me, but Roy was born, and he had one of his little friends lived around the block from us, and his friend lived right across the street from this hot chick, and her family, and it was the hot chick and her little sister who was my age, and then their little brother, who was Roy's age or a little bit older than Roy, and they lived with their grandparents for whatever reason. Their parents were not in the picture, or their mother. I don't think she was married, which was a big no-no back in the 70s in Alabama. But anyway, so they lived with their grandparents, who were I mean, this old guy, this old man, his name was Sherman, but he called everybody Sunshine, so we called him the Sunshine Man. And he was just awful, man. He was just, if you could imagine, like the worst human being ever. He stunk. He had tobacco juice running down his face and his shirt. He was just gross. And it was almost comical. But anyway, one day, Roy and his buddy came, I was in the house watching TV, whatever. It was summer. They come in the house, and they're just giggling, and I can always tell when Roy's up to something. I always know when he's done something, or he's up to something, because he giggles. It's kind of like he's giggling now, and he can't stop, and it's just freaking hilarious. So I just looked at him, and it was my job. I was the older brother. I was the cool guy. So it was my job to torture him. So I was like, what are you douchebags doing, And they just giggled, and they wouldn't stop laughing, and I was starting to get pissed, because they knew something I didn't, and it was pissing me off. So finally, they wouldn't tell me, and I was like, I was getting physical, I had them both by their collars, and I was like, you're either going to tell me, or I'm going to beat the shit out of them. So finally, I never will forget, Roy's buddy, who was terrified, he looked up at me, and he said, "We saw boobies." And which immediately caught my attention, because I was about 12 years old, 13 years old. Roy was about 5 or 6 at the time, and I was in that early teen years where I needed to see boobies, and they had seen boobies, and I was pissed because they saw some boobies, and I didn't, and so I immediately pressed the issue. Whose boobies did you see? Because I was thinking, they probably saw, some old man, mowing grass without a shirt on or something, and it was gross. But they said that they saw the hot chick. And I was like, instantly, oh gosh, it put me on red alert. And I was like, wait a minute now, you better tell me everything that happened. So they spill the story. They're playing with their, Transformers or G.I. Joes or whatever, and they're in there was these bushes that were in front of the house, and they're in those bushes because it's shady and it's hot in the summertime. So they were in the shade playing, and the hot chick comes running out of the house, butt naked, and boobs flopping and everything. And I'm telling you, she was hot, dude. She was that 70s hippie chick, hot, man. And then her boyfriend comes busting out of the house, and he's butt naked too, and he's chasing her around in the yard. And they're just giggling and laughing and telling me this story, and I was like, you mean right now there's naked people chasing each other around? So I immediately, we took off, and we ran up to Roy's little buddy's house. And we got in the bushes, and nothing happened. We sat there for like 2 hours. And I was just like, defeated, because it was starting to get towards the end of the day. I knew it was getting close to supper time, and you didn't miss supper time in the Willingham house. You got your butt tore up if you wasn't home when they called you. So we had to go on home, and but on the way home, I told Roy, I said, tomorrow we are going, and we're going to be there all day, and I'm going to see them boobies. So the next morning, I got up early. I never will forget. I got up early. I ran, because we only lived a few blocks from the school. I ran all the way to the school, got my workout in early, ran back home as fast as I could. And because I had to see this girl. She was gorgeous, hot, and I had to see this naked person. I didn't so much want to see her boyfriend, but I definitely wanted to see her. So I got home, and Roy was, as usual, sitting on the couch, watching his cartoons, and he was eating his cereal, and so I was like, let's go, douchebag, get in there and put some clothes on because we got to go see some boobies. And so we go running back up the road, and we had to go through the alleyway because we couldn't go through the main road, or they might see us and they might not come outside with their boobies flopping. So we get there and we get in the bushes, and we're sitting there, and it's early it's mid-morning. So we're sitting there, and it's freaking hot already. It's Alabama, July, butt-ass hot, and we're sitting there in the dirt. And, of course, they're playing with their little G.I. Joes and stuff, but I am focused. I'm checking the windows for movement. I got to see something. And, every now and then you'd catch a little movement or something. And the old man, the old Sunshine Man, he came out and got in the truck and drove off for a few minutes. And then he came back. And so I was just going crazy, And finally, the boyfriend of the hot chick, he pulls up in his little ragged car, parks in front of the house and goes in the house. And I was like on point because I knew it's fixing to happen. I'm going to see this gorgeous hot chick, and it's going to be awesome. And so we sat there like another 2 hours and nothing is happening. And I'm getting pissed. They're playing and they're sick of it. They want to go in the house and play because, it's cooler in the house with the air conditioner running. And I'm like, no way. You're freaking going to sit here. We're going to see this naked chick running around. We're not leaving yet. And so they were like, well, but it's hot. And I was like, shut up, you bitches. We got to see. I was so focused. I had to see these movies. And finally, Roy looked at me and he said, well, why don't we just go over there and look in the window? And I was like, are you serious? Go look in the window. Are you stupid? It's the middle of the day. Anybody could see us do it. And not only that, I don't know which room is hers. And they said, that's it right there on the side of the house. It was perfect. I mean, the window's like covered by bushes. I could slip underneath the bushes and I could see in the window. And not only that, I felt like we could pull this off. And finally I was like, well, okay, why don't we do that? So they were like, yeah, go ahead. We're going to go in the house and watch cartoons. I was like, no, you're going with me. Which was a stupid move. These 2 5-year-old kids, they're going to get me caught. But I'm obsessed. I got to see these boobs, because they were glorious. I mean, they were glorious enough that my daddy, my mama got mad at my daddy because he was staring. So I had to see this. So we go sneaking across the street, and it was awesome. I mean, it was like being in a spy film. We snuck across. What we did, we went up the road and we snuck across the street like a few houses down. And then we crossed over to the back road, which was completely off limits. I mean, if you went out there, you were going to get killed. That was just the rule of the block. All the parents said you never cross over to that road. So we snuck down the ditch of that road, and then we came in underneath the hedges of their backyard, and we just kind of crawled over to where the bushes were around the house. It was perfect. I mean, it was like spy stuff. And we get into the bushes, and we go, and I got a problem. There's 2 windows, and they just said it's the window on the side of the house. But which window am I going to look in? Because both of the windows are open. They're not running their air conditioner. They've got their windows open. And so I'm like, which freaking window am I going to look into? And then I heard it. I heard the sounds of people that were doing it. So I knew I was at the right window. It was the back window. And I was like, oh, my gosh, yes. Finally, I mean, quit laughing. I was 13 years old. I'd seen boobs in magazines, but let's face it, I hadn't seen real boobs. So this was a pinnacle moment, in my development as a young guy, as a young man. This was pivotal. And I'm hearing the sounds, and it's definite what's going on. I mean, you can hear the bed squeaking, and you can hear grunting and groaning, and you knew what was going on. So I was almost intimidated. And so I stood up, and then I stood up on my tiptoes, and there was a problem. I could not see in the window. And I was freaking out because, I mean, I could hear it happening, but I can't see it. And I'm dying to see it. You know, I'm going to see this hot chick. And I could just imagine what it's going to look like. You know, it's going to be awesome. And so finally, in a panic, I couldn't figure out what to do. So I took Roy. Oh, it was so funny. I took Roy and his friend. I took my shoes off. And I made them get on their hands and knees, and I stood on their backs to look in this window. And they were like grunting and groaning, and I was smacking them in the head. Shut up. They're going to hear you. So as I'm raising myself up to the window, and I'm just about my eyes are going to crest the windowsill, and I'm going to see in the window, and I'm going to get to see what I'm dying to see. And it's at that moment that I can hear that it's reaching a crescendo in there. You know, it's getting to the point. You know, and so I'm shaking. I'm literally shaking, and it may have been because Roy and his buddy were shaking because they were so weak and they couldn't hold me up, or it may have been me that I was so nervous. But finally, just at the moment that my eyes were starting to crest over the windowsill and I could look into the window, as my eyes were fixing on what I was seeing, I heard her in the throes of orgasmic pleasure. I never will forget this. She screamed out, "Oh, God, Sherman, you old bastard, shoot me the gravy." It was the grandparents, man. I was dying. I mean, I was terrified. I was sitting there looking, and it was the grossest thing you can imagine to see. It looked like a couple of wadded up grocery bags just having at each other, wrinkles and just pimples, and oh God, I got sick at my stomach. I started throwing up. I threw up all over Roy and his buddy. It was the grossest thing ever. I could never get that vision out of my mind. I just ran all the way back to the house. I was throwing up, and Roy and his buddies were mad, and they told on me, and I got a beating for it. But for the rest of my life, I have to see that vision, and I have to hear that voice. Oh, my God, it was the grossest thing ever. But that was my first experience.
That's why you don't like gravy on your mashed potatoes.
Come on, man. That's the reason I don't. Oh, man. It was so gross. It was my first booby, and it was horrible.
Say yeah, so
oh God, they were so wrinkled.
Like a liver spot.
Skin was like grayish white. Oh, hair everywhere. It was just gross, horrible.
So was it worth it?
No. No, it wasn't. It was nasty. It's bad that you're watching. I was watching, Dukes of Hazzard, which is an awesome show, and Jessica Simpson was an awesome Daisy Duke, and then I had to think about that, and it just ruined it. I mean, it ruined it. Oh. Sherman, you old bastard, shoot me the gravy. I mean, that's a line you never forget.
Years later, I had the greatest mushroom toss across the street that hit old Sherman in the head with this big ass fungus.
I never went around to that side of the street again. There was just something about that house. I couldn't go anywhere around it. It was like a haunted house.
And that mangy ass dog that had Poco.
Oh, that fucking dog that bit me every time I was around. Oh.
Well, thanks for that, Philip.
I don't know whether to laugh or just be grossed out.
Yeah. I think I'm like grossed out by that. That's disgusting.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm grossed out.
I gotta laugh. That shit was funny.
It was funny until I threw up on your head.
Well, yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. I think we're going to skip the whole last part there. There's no point in it. We're O for whatever. We'll just...
The Twitter follower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hasn't worked, so... So, everyone, thanks for joining up this week. It's nice to have all of us back again. Until next week.
Hear, hear.
And don't forget, you old bastard, shoot 'em that gravy.
Come on, man. That's so nasty.
Oh, that's going to be what the episode's called.
I think
Baby batter
time
or
you-
old man gravy?
next
Who's that
time you're
left?
with your women, you got to use that line on them. You know, I'm going to shoot you the gravy, baby. Oh, man.
You've been listening to the Green Up Gaming Podcast. You can find our podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. Please follow us on Twitter at Green Up Podcast and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Green Up Podcast. Green Up is a proud member of the Pod Gods Podcasting Network, the Pod Damn Podcasting Network, Musings of a Geek Podcast Network, and of course, Tangent Bound Network. You can listen to Green Up on Geek Life Radio every Thursday at noon Pacific Standard Time. To find these very strong networks, the websites, and Green Up's own electrifying blog, be sure to check out greenuppodcast.com. We here at Green Up Studios would love to hear from you, so please take a minute or two and call our voicemail, 424-COACH-35. That's 424-COACH-35. If it's good enough, could wind up on the show. Thanks for listening.